The air in the substation hangs thick, tasting of ozone, stale coffee, and the phantom ghost of nicotine from decades past. A solitary neon tube above the console flickers, painting the hand-labeled vinyl sleeves and patched cables in a sickly green glow, a pulse for the city outside that hums with its own bruised rhythm. The ancient war surplus transmitter thrums a low, steady heartbeat, a stubborn signal against the silence.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Paris checks in at 65 degrees and overcast. Winds are moving from the west at 6 miles per hour.
This ruling from the Ontario Court of Appeal exposes Toronto City Council's limited autonomy. It grants the provincial government the power to override municipal decisions on local infrastructure, specifically allowing them to dismantle existing bike lanes on Yonge Street and Bloor Street, impacting thousands of daily commuters and local businesses.
This isn't just about asphalt. It's about whose vision for the urban landscape prevails. For many Toronto residents, especially cyclists, these lanes represent a commitment to active transport and safer streets. Their removal feels like a provincial decree erasing a municipal architectural signal, leaving the city's civic fabric vulnerable. Who carries that feeling forward? The cycling advocacy groups are already mobilizing under the banner of Our Streets, Our Choice.
Patching in a caller, the skeptic. You're on the signal.
Togee, I cycle myself. But what's the tangible cost beyond inconvenience? The province argues these lanes hinder traffic flow. Is the emotional cost of losing bike lanes truly more significant than the economic cost of congestion, or are we just reacting to a feeling? Who pays for this ongoing battle?
Copy that, bringing it back to the main thread.
The cost isn't just emotional. Toronto estimates significant financial investment. Millions of dollars were already poured into constructing and integrating these bike lanes. The province's chosen next move is to proceed with removal, effectively imposing a direct cost on Toronto taxpayers for both installation and dismantling, without a clear, consensual path forward. An alternative could have been a provincially funded, independent urban planning commission, tasked with brokering a compromise solution that balances traffic flow with active transport safety, perhaps by exploring dedicated bike infrastructure on parallel routes like Church Street.
Static lifts for half a breath. The vinyl crackles under the needle. The line is live. The question of architectural provenance hangs heavy here. Who owns the design of our shared spaces? From Canadian urban planning, we now pivot to a more urgent and brutal architecture of conflict. American Doctor shows brutality of conflict in Gaza.
Dr. Irfan Galaria, an American plastic surgeon, recently returned from volunteering in Gaza, painting a stark picture of overwhelming medical crises. He describes children arriving with horrific shrapnel wounds, amputations, and severe burns, while medical facilities like Al-Shifa Hospital are critically short of basic supplies, food, and even clean water.
Dr. Galaria's account is a direct transmission of the human cost, showing the systemic breakdown of dignity in conflict zones. It exposes the Gazan civilian population to unimaginable suffering, with an estimated 35,000 casualties and over 70,000 injured since October 7th. The narrative of American Doctor itself carries this burden, forcing a global reckoning.
There's a caller on the line.
It's horrific, Togee. But what's the actual leverage here? We hear these stories, but the conflict persists. Who is ultimately accountable for this humanitarian collapse, and what practical steps can be taken beyond just bearing witness? Is there an alternative to this cycle of suffering?
The core issue is the breakdown of international humanitarian law. The current chosen next move by various parties is continued military operations or insufficient aid delivery. A viable alternative would be an immediate enforced international ceasefire, coupled with direct, unimpeded humanitarian corridors to allow full access for medical aid, food, and personnel from organizations like Doctors Without Borders. The international community, through bodies like the UN Security Council, holds the structural authority to impose such measures, yet often falters in unifying to do so effectively.
Dr. Galaria's testimony asserts the structural self-worth of every human life, even in the face of brutal conflict. It demands a recalibration of global priorities. From the architects of war, we transition to the dangerous architecture of resource extraction. Central African Republic gold mine collapse kills more than 100. Same dossier, new angle. Keep the thread tight.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Continue the signal at TogeeVision.com. Tune in, Sparks and Stories, Gig Passport.